Man, 2020 is finally about to come to an end. It's been, to say the least, a rough year, okay, for pretty much everybody. I mean, do I even really need to go down the list of things that happened this year? I mean, within like the first 3 days, we thought we were going into like a World War III, so that was pretty crazy. And then, of course, the whole COVID situation, and it's been a rough year, man. And unfortunately, I didn't want to even bring this up really because I didn't expect to even have this. I was literally getting ready to record the audio for this video when the news broke, but another one of, I should say, my idols has tragically passed away. I want to say rest in prosperity to MF Doom, one of the greatest rappers to ever live, one of the greatest personas in music history, your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. I mean, this one hits hard, dude. Like, MF Doom is undoubtedly one of the greatest rappers of all time. I mean, you break it down to anything, and he's pretty much in the upper echelon, if not at the exact elite top of it. And unfortunately, the news just broke right before I started recording this audio that he passed away on October 31st, and that the news had been held for about 2 months by the family. So, just very weird circumstance, honestly, the timing for that. And it's another one of my idols that's passed away this year. I was also growing up a huge fan of Kobe Bryant. Obviously, you guys know that whole situation that happened back earlier this year, the helicopter crash and everything that took out Kobe Bryant and several other people, including his daughter. It's been a rough year, man, and watching people that you've looked up to for years throughout your childhood, people who have made your day better when you were having a bad day, or who, you know, entertained you in some way even when you were having a good day, people who influenced you and impacted you in some way, made you think about something in a different perspective, like how MF Doom and someone like Kobe Bryant did, man. Watching them pass away at such young ages it's heart-wrenching, man. It's terrible, and I'm honestly just hurt even saying this right now. Like, I feel like I haven't even fully processed the news and whatnot. So with that out of the way, though, it's been a rough year, like I said, for everybody. I mean, in the United States especially, it was a rough year. The presidential election and everything had everybody on edge. Everybody seemed to hate one another. The news had us more divided than ever. The headlines were crazy and shocking this year. There were so many different protests and crazy things going on. I feel like this is really the year where people are fed up with a lot of the shit that's just been going on, you know what I'm saying? And you really can't blame people for being mad this year. I mean, this, like I said, was such a trying time for everybody with everything going on, man, with the whole economic situation, with people losing their jobs, with the pandemic, people losing family members. It's been rough, and I mean, I'm just glad, honestly, that I was able to make it through this year along with everybody around me. I did lose a few people close to me this year, which was very hard to go through. This year just has seemed like almost like two opposite ends of a spectrum, just two different extremes. Either it was going really great or it was going really horribly. I've never been so deeply depressed as I was in 2020, man. From about late September, even up until pretty much now, man, like, you know, all the bullshit going on doesn't help, but like when you're in your own head and you got problems going on too, like that kind of situation really doesn't help. So, I mean, at the worst of it, we saw all this horrible stuff happening, but I don't want to spend the whole video talking about the negatives because obviously there were also a lot of positives too, especially in my life, and I'm very grateful and very thankful that I was able to have positive experiences this year in a time where a lot of people's years were simply filled with so much turmoil that there wasn't any positivity in their lives. In a year where I really could have had it much worse off than I did, I was able to see things through, and I was able to focus on what I needed to focus on most, and I was able to do my best in what I could do. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for all the support here on the channel and everything that has happened with the channels this year. First and foremost, the main channel here, Optimus, absolutely exploded. Hundreds of thousands of new subscribers. I hit almost, I think, 200 million views this year alone. It's been a life-changing experience. I put more work into the channel this year than ever before, even through everything going on. And I focused as hard as I could on this whole thing, really trying to make it something more than what it was. On October 25th, which, man, just thinking about it, October 25th, I was able to hit 1 million subscribers here on the channel. And ending out the year, I'm at almost 1.1 million, so the growth continued, even though I was very sporadic with my upload schedule sometimes because of some of the situations that I was going through and my inability to get out of my own head sometimes. But with that, Very blessed for everything that happened on the main channel. The second channel I was able to hit 100,000 subscribers on, which is also an incredible milestone because it's really rare when a creator is able not only to hit even just 100,000 once, but to hit 100,000 and then push one channel to 1,000,000, end up with both those plaques, and then also end up with a second channel that has 100,000 subscribers. That's a very rare situation, and I'm very blessed to have been put into a position in which I can do that and I can focus as much as I can. I spent this year trying to learn a lot more. In my spare time, I've been doing a lot more reading on all different kinds of things, man, but like primarily history, spirituality, religion. I've been trying to find out, my future self, who I am now, a little bit more. I've been trying to figure out things that I think need to be figured out about myself. I'm happy to say that I pretty much learned something new every day in 2020, whether it was positive or negative, at least I was learning something, and I think that's what really matters because learning is a very important element in our lives that I think a lot of people take for granted, that I think a lot of people really just don't even focus on, man. The ability to hold knowledge is such an underrated concept, right? Like the ability to have access to the things we have today and not use them, I think is quite ridiculous in a way because you got to think the average smartphone now has more computing and processing power than the entire computer system that NASA used to put men on the moon just a few decades ago. Your phone has more processing power than that. We have access to the internet, libraries, all kinds of things, man. And the internet holds pretty much the fundamental basics of all human knowledge of all time. We know or can know pretty much anything accessible through the internet, and I feel like people just don't use it as a tool of good for often enough. And this is a very raw video because I feel like that's the way that it needs to be with the situation that's going on with the year that we had. I really didn't want to come on here and talk about the previous year and give some bullshit about it because, I mean, to keep it a $1.50, right, like this is probably one of the worst years that we've all lived through, if not flat out the worst. And like I said, I feel like I lived my life balancing between two massive extremes at all times. Life was very indecisive and life was very volatile, you know what I'm saying, with everything going on outside and inside, and I'm very happy that I made it through this year. Unfortunately, so many people did not make it through this year, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity to still be here and doing what I'm doing. I gotta say, man, earlier in the year, I felt like people talking about, like, man, I can't wait for this year to be over. I felt like that was a little overhyped, but now that we're just hours away from the clock turning over and we're finally in 2021, I gotta say, man, I can't wait to leave this fucking year behind. The amount of stress it's put on everybody is immeasurable, and I can't stand this year, to be honest with you, man. Even with the good, like, everything going on, it was so hard. And they always say that pressure creates diamonds, and, you know, you're put into rough situations to see your true character and to find out who you really are as a person. And if that's the case, then I can only hope that I do come out of this situation a much stronger, wiser, and better person overall. I don't want to spend the next year dwelling on the past, so I want to get all my thoughts on this out before the year ends, and hopefully we can start the new year off better than we did last year. I mean, the bad news stories was just rolling in basically from day one, man. And it was just, I don't know. I felt pretty much at the beginning that it was just going to be a rough year, a long year. But like, man, 2021, I know a lot of people are expecting it to be worse. But honestly, I can really only hope for the best with it. And that's all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. I want to say one last RIP to Kobe Bryant, King Von, MF Doom, and all those that we lost in 2020, and I'm hoping for a better year next year. And with that being said, thank you guys, and until 2021, this is Optimus Well, just happy this is over, and signing out.